Okay.
Okay. So just tell us your name and what school you go to.
And what dorm you live in.
I'm Ricardo. I go to Humboldt State. I live in College Creek on campus.
Okay, so can you just tell us what you know about the whole situation?
With toilet paper.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the first I heard it, well, maybe I should explain who I am, like what I do. I
Yes,
was vice president of legislation for the Resident Housing Association.
Mhm.
So it's a paid position. So I get $225 like a month. It's classified as a student assistant, and I'm supposed to help residents, with issues. Though most of the time, people either don't care or don't know I exist. So it's like no one ever comes to my office or anything like that. But we do have meetings on Mondays that a lot of people do know about. And during that meetings, when I found out about it, they're like, "Oh, well, what are we gonna do about toilet paper?" And I said, "What about toilet paper?" And it was maybe the second or third week. I didn't realize that they weren't doing it anymore. And so they said, "I'm really pissed because it's causing problems over in Cyprus, where it's like 12 people on one side sharing like 3 bathrooms." So then they're like, "Oh, well, you guys are RHA. You're supposed to do something about it." And then that's when, like, I found out about it. And do you want like more, like an overview of like, okay?
Like why it's happening and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, there's not much I can do institutionally. Like, I can't just be like, we're putting it back. That's not within my like power. But what I started to do was ask questions like to people in housing. And so I asked our advisor. So he was an RLC. He resigned.
Was it Roger?
Huh?
Was it Roger?
No.
Oh.
Cameron.
Okay.
But he resigned. He resigned. He officially resigned. But during that time, so I asked him, well, he's my first contact. So I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, well, that's usually like a business decision. Most people in housing actually wouldn't have been behind that decision. I just kind of got like this like workaround speech. And so like, okay. So I just kept asking other people like, okay, so is it the money? Like, okay, if it's the money, tell me how much it is, because RHA has a budget. We have a $60,000 budget that we collect from students. So I was like, okay, well, maybe we can buy it, or I don't know, maybe it'll be too much, but maybe we can pay part of it. So I was like, okay, give me some numbers if it's the cost. So I started asking those questions, and I mean, either people didn't know, people kept saying they didn't know, and I asked multiple people. Finally, I got like a number saying, oh, it's actually not about the cost. The cost is only about $25,000 to $30,000 a year. Which in their budget, housing's budget is in the millions. So this is really nothing. And so when I found that out, I was like, well, then I didn't understand why it was taken away. But then at that point I was like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it. But as in my position as the vice president of legislation, that's my like official title, I run like a committee that's supposed to write like what we call resolutions. And there's sort of like this, I don't know if you're familiar with like parliamentary procedure and Robert's Rules of Order. It's just like this way that people run meetings, like, oh, I motion that this, and then someone says, I second that. And there's like a whole sort of procedure to that. So I run like a committee that runs off of that, and my job is to like write basically a paper that says, in like really simple terms, like, if there's something that I think should change, and the rest of the council thinks so too, we say, like, oh, we think blah, 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 blah. This, and then because this, and then we think this should change, this just kind of thing, and then we vote on it, and it kind of carries a little bit of authority because it went through this process. So we called it the toilet paper resolution. And it was all signed, and it's on official stationery and shit, all this stuff, right? And so then I'm about to do that. But then I get told, I can't say who, but I get told to like basically kill this,
Like to get rid of it?
Yeah, like this, like, so I run like a smaller council, but then after that I would take that resolution, we put it onto like the bigger council, which is like all the areas and all the other like satellite councils on it, like Queers and Allies and and Active Minds, like the other residence hall councils. Like then all of them would be in this big meeting, and I was going to bring it to them, and then we would vote on it, and then hopefully we'd get more attention that way, right? But so I was told by someone who I couldn't ignore, kill it, basically.
Do you know why they why this is all like why are they doing this?
I was mystified, honestly, because I was like, okay, well, I'm like, okay, $25,000 and $30,000 is a lot of money, but I mean, in relation to their budget, it should be nothing to them. You know, and then, so I was told to kill this, and so out of one, because I remember I am sort of paid position, so I am sort of representative of students, and there's like I am sort of elected and appointed and all this, but I do get paid through housing, so there's a certain like,
Yeah.
you kind of have to like, and so I was like, okay, I'll hold off on this for now, but now I'm like, now I want to know. I'm confused. Like, what is going on?
They never told you why they're not gonna be why they're not offering toilet paper.
Okay, so now, since I started pushing, now I started to get what I think were more real answers. So after that, they're like, okay, well, it really isn't about the money. And I'm like, yeah, I figured that. Even though, if you remember, that was the first answer they told me. They're like, it's actually about people getting really annoyed because, like, people were calling at 1 a.m. in the morning, and it's not even the cost of the toilet paper, but it was costing them man hours, or so they said.
I actually heard about that.